Well, Tom, suicide has been in the news lately with the recent deaths of Anthony Bourdain and Kate Spade. Here in Georgia, the number of suicides rose by 16% from 1999 to 2016. So why are we seeing this jump? The Fox Medical Team's Beth Galvin talked to a psychiatrist to try to get some answers.
The CDC's numbers are alarming. Suicides are up across the board 30% from 1999. And in 2016, nearly 45,000 Americans died by suicide. So why are we seeing this jump across all age groups? We sat down with a psychiatrist to get some answers.
The CDC suicide report came out the same week that designer Kate Spade and chef Anthony Bourdain both died from suicide. And psychiatrist Dr. Ray Kotwicki, medical director of Atlanta's Skyland Trail, says when you look closer at what's driving a record number of Americans to end their lives,
there are two things that pop out. One is not having a community that supports you and feeling socially isolated.
The other, Dr. Kotwicki says, is easy access to lethal weapons like guns, which the CDC says were the leading means of suicide. And Dr. Kotwicki believes our increasing reliance on social media may also be to blame.
The more time somebody spends on social media, the more anxious that a person becomes. And then secondly, I think when people are on social media, by definition, it makes it impossible to have real-time conversation.
In other words, we're looking at our screens rather than checking in and talking to each other. Untreated depression is a major risk factor for suicide, but the CDC says nearly half of those who died from suicide didn't have a known mental illness. The most common factors: relationship problems, life crises, and alcohol or drug abuse.
Substance abuse and suicide go together like hand in glove.
Dr. Kotwicki says many of those who die from suicide were intoxicated at the time, either on alcohol, opioid pain medication, or prescription drugs like those to treat anxiety.
And it makes sense to me why somebody who's struggling would want to numb their feelings through one of those mechanisms, but ironically it makes it harder for somebody to think, and I think it decreases the inhibitions.
And Dr. Kotwicki says suicide is often a spur of the moment act. So when someone is in trouble and they're thinking about suicide, he says drugs or alcohol can make it easier to cross that line and act on those thoughts. For the Fox Medical Team, I'm Beth Galvin.